I wouldn't want to be in that position, having to run away from, because that's basically what, having to run away and grabbing, holding, and Mike was pushing him around. It was entertaining. I liked it. I enjoyed it. All right, welcome to the Spartan Boxing Radio Show. Here's Joey, Corling, and Dave for another podcast.
Here's
podcast. So,
what's up, boys and girls?
Corling has called on this meeting.
That's right.
Talk about this fight coming up. I don't know if he wants to talk about the fight coming up or if he just wants to, talk
Defend
about
his
man crush.
Errol
He
wants to
Junior.
defend his boyfriend's nature, his reputation.
Boyfriend.
That's okay.
All right. I see what kind of show this is going to be. The gloves are off. So.
Well, aren't they always?
I don't know. Not as much as today. Come on.
Hey,
that's fine.
Fight's coming up this weekend. Before we get into that fight, I do want to mention about last weekend's fights with Mike Tyson. Briefly, let's just briefly talk about this. I'm hearing rumors and things, and they're tossing that 5 million pay-per-view buys and all this. If that's true, well, you know what? Good for them. I thought that the production value was good. They did a good job with the production for a first time. I thought that was pretty damn good.
Right.
I don't know about, the length of all these rappers singing, in between fights, but it's better than just listening to, three guys talking, about sometimes stuff that they don't know anything about, like us.
Right.
And
that was fine as long as when Snoop got there, that was great.
Yeah. But I mean, I didn't mind the other stuff too, but either, it was cool. It's time. People have to get ready for the fight, and that kind of, breaks the ice. And
yeah, kind of like little intermissions through. It wasn't bad.
They took the Rock Nation model, which they originally wanted to integrate song, the stars with boxing, and kind of ran with it in a very simple way. And I think it worked. I think
it was good. But, I don't know if this is going to continue, then they're going to have to pay these rappers. So I don't know how many of these rappers did this for free or for cheap. But a lot of times, man, you got to pay these rappers at least $10,000 just to make an appearance, depending on how popular they are.
Yeah.
So these guys are going to be doing it pro bono or out of the kindness of their heart, coming up, especially if they see 1.5 million pay-per-views and whatnot. So,
well,
no,
do you guys think
5 million?
I said 5 million.
Yeah, I mean, I saw 1.5, but if they're over here talking about 5 million pay-per-views, then why shouldn't they get a cut of that? So yeah, it's only going to cost more in the up and coming years, months, days, whatever.
Well, I mean, the production value was good. The broadcast team was pretty much the Showtime team, almost.
Yeah.
They had some hiccups here and there, but the fights were entertaining. Jake Paul did his thing with his, social media fight against.
I don't fuck with that dude. I don't fuck with that dude.
He's got his fans, and if he pulled some people over to the pay-per-view, then they'll be able to measure it, and they'll be able to see if it's worth it having him. Or I think it's going to be worth having him in shows because he is pulling certain people. It reminds me of the MMA guys. The MMAs that follow, MMA guys into boxing and think, oh, he's gonna kill this guy, like the Mayweather and McGregor fight. All these MMA people, McGregor's gonna destroy him, and they all just jump on there blindly, and that's not what happens. But they generate money that way, and that's really the bottom line. And if they can generate money that way to pay the real boxers, I'm cool with that. I'm cool with it. So, Tyson fought. To me, Tyson seemed like he wanted to fight.
Yeah.
He seemed like he wanted to go. And I think that Roy Jones made a big mistake in not at least trying to prepare himself. He was completely unprepared. He was gassed by round 2. He was gassed.
I know he at the end of the first round he was gassed because they went to his corner, and he was huffing and puffing like he was at the end of the fight with the interview with Jim Gray. That's because he trained at Pizza Hut.
Yes,
that's where he trained.
Yes.
Yeah, that's exactly where he trained.
He was as close to I've ever seen him wanting to quit. I thought he was going to quit at round like 6. I thought he was going to say, "Stop it! I can't anymore."
Yeah.
And I was concerned because of his age. I mean, the guy is 50-something years old. He's carrying, probably 40, 50 pounds extra than what he should. He could have a heart attack in there. So I can understand, me being in that age and having extra poundage. I wouldn't want to be in that position, having to run away from, because that's basically having to run away and grabbing, holding, and Mike was pushing him around. It was entertaining. It was. I liked it. I enjoyed it. You guys go ahead. Tell me about it.
The undercards were entertaining. I've kind of gone back and forth on this Jake Paul thing for, a couple days. I'm kind of with you. Like, I don't mind the sideshow. I don't really care if those fans get brought over for Jake Paul. Like you said, if it brings money to the event, and that you can keep doing stuff like this and putting on bigger shows. And it doesn't have to be like these legends. It could be for anything. Jake Paul was in the DAZN card, his first fight.
Mm-hmm.
And I heard Eddie Hearn talking about it, and he's like, we've been there, we've done that, but it all helps. He brings in, money. So
it opens up to a crowd of people. It opened up Devin Haney to be seen by a crowd of people that would normally not look at him. And I'm
right. Billy Joe Saunders was on that card too.
Yeah.
You don't know if these guys are going to stick around and be boxing fans because they saw Jake Paul or his brother fight, but at least for the one night, it put money into the boxing business. It brought money in.
And if they're serious in continuing to get these types of fights, calling out YouTubers and other, basketball players, and that's going to attract their fans over so that they can see other real boxers. I think that will, the fanship will leach into those other fighters that are not as well known as these guys are. I mean, they're huge on YouTube. There's no denying that. Going back to Mike, I think Mike is in a stage of his life where he has kind of fallen back in love with boxing. He really looked like he was enjoying hurting Roy Jones.
he kind of looked like his old self. I think he
was
enjoyed,
relaxed. He was, enjoying being there, and
he had the head movement. He kind of looked a little bit like his old self. I think he enjoys the fact that he's in a good place in his life, and he was able to do something to.
I'm happy for him.
You've lived in New York. I live here. I don't live that far from Brooklyn. I know the area where he's from, and you don't get a lot of guys that get out of there and then be able to earn a good chunk of money, like $10 million, and give it back. That story doesn't happen. You know what I mean?
Do you guys want to see? Do you guys want to see Tyson fight again?
Yes. Yeah. Sure. Why not? Why not?
This is what I'm gonna say, because
be honest. Be honest.
No, I'm gonna. As far as Tyson, I watched Tyson growing up as a kid, man. I remember the Tyson Buster Douglas fight. I was fucking 6 years old, man, and I remember watching that with my whole family, and that was really something. And I remember each Tyson fight subsequent after that, like how big he was, because this dude, when he came out of jail, was huge, man. Absolutely huge. Like, you really can't even quantify and put into words the level of stardom that he attained. And that really shows, man, how his name still resonates right now. It's 2020. We're literally 35 years away, 30 years away from Mike Tyson's heyday. And I don't want to say he stole the show. I don't pay attention to that Jake Paul, Nate Robinson stuff. I'm not paying attention to that. But that
I mean,
dude,
you don't have to pay attention to it, but it was there.
He got knocked
it was
the fuck
there.
out.
The knockout went by, and look, and Nate was a Nick, and I'm a Nick fan, so to see him just get slumped like that,
I'm not paying attention to that just because I don't.
I'm not making fun of him either. I'm just saying
it's not that though. I don't want to give him the power though to actually think that he can compete. If he says, "Hey, I call out any celebrity in this weight class or this or this or this," that's fine. But he started putting out.
No. Listen. He was on Akin Barak, right?
Okay.
Yesterday.
Okay.
So I'm always a day behind. I listened to it today. And he said there was an article out there that he called out Canelo. He's like, I'm nowhere near that. He's like, Canelo he's the best boxer in the world right now. And he would kill me. So he was being realistic. He wants to fight KSI, who I think his brother fought. He wants to fight McGregor because McGregor's not really a boxer. Yeah. He wants to fight these fringe guys, maybe get another MMA guy in there. And that's fine, you know. And if it's a sideshow and it's a real fight, and he does train and he does take it serious, and whoever he's fighting, you know, doesn't show up like Nate Robinson, then fine, it's fine.
Well, he said that in the post-fight interview, they were interviewing him, you know, and he's saying, "I'm taking this seriously. This is my career, and I'm going to call out KSI and this." And I'm like, "That's not serious."
He called out his own brother.
Yeah.
Well, here, but let me tell you this though. What you're starting to see now is boxers, ex-boxers, retired boxers. Antonio Tarver just called him out. That's what I don't want to happen. The thing is that I see these boxers like, look, Antonio Tarver knocked out a prime Roy Jones.
Right.
These dudes to me are giants because that's the sport that I love. They shouldn't pay attention to ants, man. That's what's really bugging me about.
But look at it from the mentality of a boxer. And I'll give you a great example.
Go ahead.
You have a member, Corey Washington, who wants to go in there. And
sir. Put him in there.
But why?
Put him in there.
But why? Why does he want to go? Because there's money in there. You can't avoid that. You can't cover that up. There is money involved with this kid. And if you got somebody like Corey Washington, who I don't know when was the last time he fought. It was maybe several years ago going,
he said
I want to go in there and kick his ass. You know, I want to go in there and get back in boxing. And it's because there is
but this is Antonio Tarver, man.
Yeah.
This is Antonio Tarver. Fought Bernard Hopkins, fought Roy Jones. You know, like, come on, man. Let's not pay attention to those dudes. I mean, you know what? Why not put Tarver in there, maybe on an undercard or on the main event against,
Roy
maybe Montel Griffin if he's Roy Jones. Exactly.
Corey's last fight was February 2012.
Yeah, that's what he said. 2012.
Yeah,
I'm behind Corey 100.
Tarver and Jones.
The last time I saw Corey, he was shaped like Roy Jones. I love you, Corey. I love him to death, but
yeah, man,
he put on some
cool
LBs.
Cat, man.
Yeah,
he's a cool cat.
I think I caught him maybe a year after his last fight. He wasn't actually. He fought in a card that I went to see here in Tampa in 2011 or 2012. So yeah, I didn't know him then.
He fought at the Ritz Theater.
The end
of 2011.
I was at that fight, and one of the guys in the group, Joshua Jones, his brother fought that card, Justin.
Yep, Justin Jones. Yep,
which we went to see, and I didn't realize that Corey was there. But yeah, he fought that night. I don't think he won, but I think that he
he did. He lost his last three.
Congrats on his new baby, by the way.
Yes, absolutely.
That's it. But I hope.
But that's the appeal. The appeal is that there's money in there, and the appeal is that if you can go in there and make, a couple of, even $100,000 fighting this guy for 5 rounds, why not? Why not?
Yeah.
That's a game changer for a boxer.
Yeah, most definitely.
So
most definitely,
we'll see. But I don't think it's going to happen like that. He's just going to continue to fight these, like Joey said, these fringe guys, these YouTubers. It's going to attract that fan base from YouTube who's going to buy all the bullshit they're going to feed them in social media. and they're going to get paid for it. Wow.
Yeah.
He seems like he's training. He seems like he's learning.
He said he's going to do this for now. This is like his amateur career, basically. He's fighting, nobodies.
And what is he? He's about 23 years old, right?
He's
23.
He's very young.
He's a kid.
So he can learn on the job against a bunch of not really athletic guys, not real boxers.
But then you have the real boxers like Ryan Garcia, who's in social media. Like there's one kid. I don't know if you guys have seen him fight, Nikita Ababi.
Yeah, I saw him.
Blonde, tall kid.
He was on.
Is a YouTuber.
Wasn't he on the Jacobs Rosado card?
Yeah, but he's a real boxer, and he's pretty decent. But he
wasn't that bad. I remember seeing him.
Following, he has a channel that he does crazy shit on. Not really boxing related, but whatever. If they can sell themselves that way, like the Berlangas, like the Ryan Garcias, who have a social media presence, that gives them leverage in getting big money and big fights early in their career. I'm okay with that, man.
Let me ask this though. Since we're talking about this, and since we're halfway entertaining this, all of us watched however we watched, right? What does this say about the state of boxing? Jake Paul said, "I'm saving boxing." He said that.
He's out of his mind.
But what does it say about the state of boxing, though?
No,
is he saving boxing in a way? We're talking about it.
You have every right to be delusional. It's okay. It doesn't mean it's true.
He's not saving it, but he's helping.
Is he giving boxing? Is he giving boxing the shot in the arm that it needs?
No, because those fans won't come unless he's fighting.
That's right. See, that's exactly what I mean. He's not. I don't think he's going to bring in new diehards. He's bringing in, people to come see the freak show, and then when the freak show's not on, and you think the guys that watched him last week, the guys that were solely there just to watch him, you think they're buying a pay-per-view on Saturday? No.
Fuck no.
Oh, absolutely not. But who cares? If his money,
we're not even buying the pay-per-view.
If his money can pay for Tyson and Roy and charity money, then so be it. Who cares?
Yep.
I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that.
We're gonna get links from Corling.
Nah, you ain't getting no links from me, buddy.
Other than that, I'll say
both
this.
Of y'all.
It was really cool to see the man who actually brought me to love boxing, which was Mike Tyson from New York. Yeah. One of our boys made it to be the baddest man in the world, and for one more night, he was. And it sucks that they play this participation trophy and say Roy got a draw because
it's a tie. Yeah,
he they had judges and they ruined that, and Vinny Paz should never ever see the side of a ring ever again.
So here's
he had like 4 10 rounds. Like,
here's the upside.
Even Christy Martin was making fun of him.
Here's the upside or the downside of the draw, and is that all those people that were putting money on the betting lines for a win, for Roy Jones or for Tyson, they lost their money.
Yep.
Nobody won. Yep. Nobody won. Yep. I would be pissed off if I found out that there wasn't, at least a betting line for a draw. There wasn't. I didn't find any.
Hey, you're an idiot if you bet on that fight. That's crazy. All I gotta say.
But if you bet your rent money on an exhibition fight,
you
got problems.
If you go on social media on a lot of those boxing groups, that's what people were talking about. I'm like, are you people crazy? This is an exhibition. This is not a real fight.
You know what? But let me say this though. What prompted me to pass out, links or to tell people how to watch the fight is, man, I got at least 10 calls talking about, are you watching the fight tonight? I was like, I guess, I guess I am. I just didn't think it was that serious. People were over here hitting me up to see if I was going to have anything at the house.
All right, you guys ready? Because we can move on to something that actually matters, but I just want to give you an article from 10 hours ago from the Sport Bible. Legit sports website. Mike Tyson and Roy Jones reportedly drew 1.2 million pay-per-view buys in the United States. and it's been dubbed a shockingly high number. Tyson and Jones Jr. fought to a draw inside the Staples Center over the weekend, and it was Iron Mike's first action inside a boxing ring since 2005. So as of right now, U.S. only, 1.2 million.
Damn.
1.2 million.
The Sport Bible is not pushing an agenda for anybody. I doubt it.
Right. I saw the same report on a completely different outlet.
Now at $50 for the pay-per-view,
Hey, but isn't that how it used to be though? I mean, we're talking about back in the Mayweather Marquez days, and
this was just like an old Mike. This was an old Mike Tyson card, which me and 9 of my friends would get together and all chip in $5, and Christy Martin would be on the undercards.
She would be on the undercards.
Yeah,
that's $60 million in revenues. If that number's correct, just in the U.S., that's enough money to pay for Mike's fee. And from what I heard, Roy Jones was only taking a $1 million fee for this fight.
I thought that was both of them. 1 million and 1 million.
No,
oh, okay.
Not Mike. Not Mike.
Okay.
Mike got 10, but Mike donated all of it.
Yeah. Oh, got you. I see.
But I mean, that leaves enough money for them to really continue and do another show. And
that's incredible, man. That's
$60 million. That's
incredible.
That's just the U.S. number. So okay, good for them.
And then we got to look and see, what was the pool there? Was it Mike Tyson's name recognition, or was it some of it had to do with Jake Paul, or what's the break? What's the percentage split there?
Dude, I'm gonna tell you, man, that was, to me, that was all Mike, man. That was all Mike and Roy. That's all Mike and Roy.
I agree, but you have to also, it's already surprising enough that it was that they're saying 1.2 million.
Right.
Somebody had told me on the group that it was 5 million. I thought that was almost unbelievable.
That's crazy.
Maybe that's worldwide. Who knows?
No, it might be the worldwide number, and if that's the number, how much money is that? That's
staggering, man.
You're talking about $280 million, $250 million.
And I was listening to,
and you know what? If he fights Holyfield next, it might do that.
It might do more.
Man, my boy.
It might do more.
I don't let nobody call me out. I am the smoke. It ain't Bud Crawford.
Listen. Well, if you go to the tune-up that's happening this weekend, look out for the little glass cup with the Effordent mixture and the,
oh shit, hilarious.
I
just imagine my grandmother putting her dentures in the damn
and the little box of Polydent.
Yeah, Polydent. Gotta glue them right.
I see a lot of memes in my future.
Listen, you said that interview, and the first thing I thought was, holy shit, they made his teeth too big. Listen. He reminded me of my grandpa. My grandpa, that's how he talked when he got his new teeth.
He got Jersey Shore veneers.
Yes, sir.
Wow. Look like all them kids.
Smile and gleam, baby. Smile and gleam. Smile for the camera.
He didn't look right to me in that interview. Honestly speaking, he didn't look right to me.
Let's go. Let's go. Let's talk about it.
I'm not saying he's gonna, dispose of Danny 8 years past his prime.
You got less than 30 minutes. Let's go.
We already started. I'm telling you.
He's recording.
I'm recording.
He's recording.
And I don't doubt that he'll get past Danny 8 years past his, prime.
Here we go.
Garcia. Listen, if we're gonna do that with Brooke,
wait.
We got to do this with Danny too. Danny got beat by who?
Sean Porter
and Keith Thurman.
Danny is.
Wait, think about this. Danny got beat by Sean Porter. Sean Porter got beat by Brooke.
So this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna do the whole triangle theory. We're gonna do the whole round robin.
No. Let's try to point out what Danny can do to win, what Errol needs to do to win, and then pick your winner. That's all. It doesn't have to be 5 hours. You want to sit here and talk about the fight camp? I watched all 3.
I watched all 3 also.
I haven't seen any of them.
Yes,
But,
sir.
David, honestly, you're not missing anything. There's nothing in there that's gonna reveal anything. Just like and this is for all the dummies at home. Just like I'm home right now. But everyone that looks at the weigh-in and sees, oh my God, Danny looks great. This guy went to the water first, and I don't give a fuck how they look at the weigh-in. It means nothing. And you know what made me think this? Just even as recently as a couple weeks ago, Kell Brook looked like a monster and got demolished.
Mm-hmm.
How he looks on the scale, I don't give a fuck how they look on the scale. I want to see how they look on the ring on Saturday night. That's what I want to see.
Yeah.
So I'm going to let Corlin go first. You're going to the fight.
That's
Good for you.
Can't wait.
The boys fighting. Good for you. Good for you. See,
that's right.
If you would have got out in front of this, instead of being you're taking your time, slow motherfucking ass.
Yeah,
you could have used my hookup, and I would have had seats for you at the best stadium in the world.
Arguable, because there's another one in Vegas that's newer, but you know what? We won't even talk about that right now.
Is this in Cowboy Stadium?
It's in Cowboy Stadium, same place where Pacquiao fought Claudia and Margarito.
That's not a good venue for boxing.
It's too big.
I agree.
It's too big.
I agree. It's way too big. It's way too big.
David, you went to the Claudia fight or you went to the Margarito fight?
No, I went to the Claudia fight.
You went to Claudia. I was at both.
Yeah,
I was at both.
And I was at the Margarito fight.
Yeah.
Yep. I was at both. You know what? Yeah, I don't like the venue. But I know why they're doing it. They're trying to get fans in there, and they're trying. You
don't like it for boxing. I think it's too big for boxing.
Well, it's too big for football too. Just to be honest with you, but it's too big for boxing. But at the same time, you know what they're trying to achieve: get fans in, let them properly social distance. Get some revenue at the gate. I completely understand that. I'm excited to be in the building. I love Dallas just as a city. Period. That's actually where I want to live. But I mean, it is what it is. I'm excited to see Errol, how he looks. And I think that he is in with a dangerous opponent. See, y'all aren't high on Danny. I'm high on Danny. And the thing is that, hold on, I'm not saying it just for the sake of this fight. I've been high on Danny all the way back. Ever since I was a skeptic when he beat Morales, even the second time. I was a skeptic when he beat Khan. I know. But he's been getting better, and he's markedly better from how he was before. His timing's better, his speed is better, his power is better. And I think it's because he's fighting at a weight class he's comfortable at. It's no secret that he was really struggling, like all the way up to the Lamont Peterson fight, the Mauricio Herrera fight. He was struggling to get to 140. He was really struggling. I don't even think that Lamont Peterson fight was at 140. So, I mean, it is what it is. A lot of people make fun of Danny Garcia, all the way back to the Rod Salka fight. They always pick on Danny Garcia for that Rod Salka fight. And they're not looking, and they're overlooking the fact that this dude does have a resume full of names littered with skeletons in his graveyard. Danny's a good fighter, man. Danny's a good fighter. And this dude ain't no tune-up opponent, especially an opponent, one that you would take after coming off of a calamitous car crash, and we all saw it. So this is going to be like the boys in the UK say, a proper test for Errol Spence. I think he passes with maybe not flying colors, but I think he passes the test, and we get to talk to and look forward to bigger and better things.
Listen, Danny's 2 step-up fights into the elite class, he lost both of them. Okay. Aside from that, the only people he's beaten are either has-beens or C-class fighters like Sammy Vargas, Brandon Rios.
Hey man, he beat the crap out of Granados.
Adrian Granados.
Granados is a good fighter. He's solid, and he stepped over him. But you know what? This is what we can do. Since you want to say that, him stepping into the elite, he lost. Every time Oscar De La Hoya, the Hall of Famer, stepped up into the elite, he got stepped on. We can do this with a lot of dudes.
And that's
Danny
fine.
Garcia just happens to be that
And
guy.
that's fine.
Hey, you could even do it with Miguel Cotto.
Yes, sir. You sure can.
And that's fine. But that doesn't take away the fact that that's what's happening with Danny Garcia. Danny Garcia is at his best was in 2012 when he fought Amir Khan. At his best.
He's way better than when he fought
his
Amir Khan.
Best.
He's way better than when he fought Amir Khan. Way better.
I don't know.
Way better.
2000, and then what happened? He just went into this, I don't know what it was, whether it was this Heyman move that, they were restricting fights and restricting fighters. He went into this stretch of crappy ass fights. And listen, he lost that Mauricio Herrera fight. Period.
Yeah. By a mile.
Period. And then they bring up this lightweight, Rod Salka.
Everybody talks about this Salka fight. Oh my God.
And then he got showed up by Lamont Peterson. I had Lamont winning that fight too.
I was at that fight. I did not think Lamont Peterson won.
So how did they reward him? They gave him Paulie Malignaggi in his next fight.
Hey, but you know what? I don't know if you remember, the buildup for that fight was actually pretty crazy. It was like a Brooklyn versus Philly thing, and it was an entertaining fight. Rigo fought that same day. I remember that. I was flipping between HBO and Showtime.
What fight?
Danny Garcia and Paulie Malignaggi.
Oh yeah, okay.
Rigo fought that same day. I think he fought against that African cat, and I was flipping back and forth.
So here's the problem that I see. There in the step-up fights, he has not risen to the occasion. And he has struggled with some of the lower fights.
It's not like it's not even that.
He's not a bad fighter.
He's not bad at all, man.
I like personally, I think his father really annoys the shit out of me. Danny doesn't bother me that much, but like David says, every time he's tried to go to the next level, and we're talking about at welterweight, he's come up short. And I think at times in the middle of those fights, the fights he lost, even the fight against Mauricio Herrera, he looks disinterested. Like he does not want to be there. Like he could be doing something better. He doesn't look like he's gonna quit. He looks like he's just going through the motions.
Yeah.
And I think there's gonna be a point on Saturday where that's gonna happen again. And you're gonna see it. It's gonna be visible. There's a look on his face where he's like, I'll just finish this out and we'll see what happens at the end. And he was saying, when I'm watching that fight camp, he was saying, I know what I did wrong in those fights. I made the fights too close. No. Or maybe yes. Maybe the problem is exactly what I'm saying. You made the fights too close because you got to a point in that fight where you didn't think you could win, and you just went through the motions.
Now, what you're doing, and this is what you're accusing him of, because you said a whole bunch right there, but it seems like you're accusing him of quitting. That seems like he's a quitter, but he doesn't want to make it look like he's quitting, so he's going to go through the motions, and then that's it. Instead of all out, a la taking a knee, a la Kell Brook, or giving up like Khan did against, against Terrence Crawford. Are you calling him a quitter?
I think when he gets to a point in a fight where he knows he can't win, he somewhat inside quits a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think he just goes and says, I said I'm done in the corner. He's not that kind of guy, but he stops trying. And that's
now have you
he's got enough pride so that he won't,
Have you ever this is what I'll say. I've never ever seen anyone, y'all talk about the Mauricio Herrera fight. Mauricio Herrera won that. It was a pretty boring fight. He won it with a jab though, right?
He won the fight easily too.
He boxed him. He boxed him with a jab though. But have you ever really seen anyone just all out style up on Danny? I'm talking about mash his ass, put put their foot in Danny's ass, and that's it. Have you ever seen that? Because
he hasn't fought Terrence Crawford, so of course we haven't seen it.
Okay, so look, this is what we're gonna argue though. You're saying that he has a little bit of quit in him. I'm not gonna say that. I can't say that.
Okay.
But what I will say is that Danny fights at a very measured pace, and he maybe doesn't have the gears that other fighters have. You know, you see Terrence Crawford.
Okay,
like,
but
when
that
it's
makes
time
a
to
lot
go
of sense.
Super Saiyan, he goes Super Saiyan. Like, you see it. Danny doesn't do it, and maybe he doesn't feel like he has to.
Is
Danny, I think,
is it something like what you're describing? Is it something like what you see from Danny Jacobs?
except for Danny Jacobs is a lot more athletic, a lot more talented. Yes, like there is a soft side of Danny Jacobs. I can see that in him. Danny, I don't think is soft. I just think that he's very measured. He knows his limitations. He's not the fastest. He's pretty strong, but he's not the strongest. He's not fleet of foot. So he has to really rely on fundamentals and fundamentals only. If he overextends himself, it's over. So that's the thing. I think he realizes his limitations. He's smart because of it. And he's like, all right, I'm going to stay in this pocket because that is what I can do. And that's it.
I know what's going on here. I know what's going on. What's going on here is that Quarling is romanticizing about a Danny Garcia that beat Lucas Matisse 7 years ago. He's in love with that Danny Garcia. And he's
lots of money.
That Danny Garcia at this fight, and that's not the Danny Garcia that's going to show up in this fight.
I took half the Spartans' money like I was in divorce court, man. Half the Spartans' money like I was in divorce court. Everybody got their money taken. But go ahead.
I'm trying to be fair, and I don't like him, and just for being from Philadelphia, I already dislike him. Just plain and simple. I don't like Philadelphia. I don't like anything about Philadelphia. So he already gets like one strike against him, but I'm really trying to be fair. And I was trying to look for a way where, 2020, it's crazy. Anything can happen this year, whatever. Maybe he could just land one of them lucky wide left hooks and end the fight.
Right.
I'm gonna make a prediction now.
Knock the dentures out and win the fight.
I'm going to make my prediction now, and what I've been seeing in articles, in videos, in the fight camp, he actually looks like he got beat up a lot in sparring.
In sparring,
when you got the headgear on and you take the headgear off, he had marks. Like he got touched a lot. I've had headgear. I've sparred. I've had bruises and stuff. I've been hit. And I'm nowhere near the professional, or I'm not a professional that he is. I've sparred and had bruising and stuff like that. He had it. It was like, his back was all scratched up, like he was getting pushed up against the ropes. You saw it. You can
equate that to he's had tough sparring.
He's had tough sparring
to prepare him.
The guys he sparred with are not Errol Spence.
Right. Right. But you also work on things in sparring, though, right?
I find it hard to believe, even after the accident, and, Errol, everybody's talking like he's just as good as before. And I don't see, his speech is his speech. Everybody makes fun of his speech. He's, but you guys down there, you talk slow and you got the Southern drawl and whatever. I'm going to let that slide. He looks normal to me. And if he is what he is, and he said that he went to the Mikey fight just to box and show everybody he could box, and then he went to the Porter fight and he did something he didn't have to do, where he went in there to brawl.
Two totally different styles. Two totally different ways of fighting. Let's point that out.
Shut the fuck up and let me finish.
Let's point it out. Go ahead.
He said, I didn't have to do that. He goes, in this fight, and his dad said it too, you're going to see a different type of Errol Spence. And the fact that he was able to show a little diversity and variety in his offense and defense, I'm going to take their word for it. And I'm going to believe that he is still what he was before the accident. and I think that he can win. I don't think he'll knock Danny out. I think he should be able to win a very reasonable 8-4 fight, like convincing 8-4, maybe even 9-3. If Danny gets to that gear early in the fight and he realizes the car ain't going any faster, he might be discouraged for a long period of time in that fight. Not quit. I don't want to call him a quitter because he's never quit. But discouraged where, there's no plan B. Like, this is all I got. I got to go with this.
And he's just going to survive to the end of the fight. That's what he's going to survival mode.
It's like you kind of get to a point where I only had plan A, and plan A isn't working, but I don't have a plan B, so I'm just going to keep going. And if it doesn't work, then, that's what I mean by going through the motions. I'm not really calling him a quitter.
What I see with this,
I would take Spence in a 12-round decision.
Yeah, I see it the same, and I see it that way because, regardless of whatever Danny has been in the past and what he may be now, he can still punch. He's a hard puncher, and I think that that's going to prevent Spence from just walking him down. I mean, He didn't even try to walk down a little, featherweight. What's his name? Mikey Garcia. And
one weight class jump. Go ahead.
But listen,
Mikey was never a 140 fighter either.
He's a 140
this
champion,
is what bothers me. This is what bothers me about these guys. These are okay. They're boxing matches, and you don't have to go and knock everybody. But man, it is so good to see a fighter push himself and press himself and go after that knockout and go and try to get that and prove to his opponent that he's better without a shadow of a doubt. I didn't see that heart in Errol Spence in his fight against Mikey Garcia, and I did not see that heart and that desire in his fight against Porter.
He did drop Porter late though.
But I didn't see him want to, to punish him and to break him down and to finish him. It's
hard to do that against Porter, though. It's hard to do that against Porter.
Porter's tough. Porter's not.
Is it hard to put that against? Is it hard to do it against Mikey Garcia?
He did it against Mikey Garcia. He killed him.
And dude, Mikey's head. You can't miss Mikey's head. Mikey's head
squashed him.
Come on.
And he went for it a little bit. And he was cautious, and that's it. Okay, you're saying that he should have knocked him out. And you know what? Maybe he should have. But he also said that he wanted to show that he can box. It was a lot of people saying, I can see Mikey outboxing Spence, but the size is too much.
Think about this, too, though. Think about this, too. Danny fought this year. Fought in January.
He's one of the only big names that fought twice this year.
He fought Ivan Redkach, and it wasn't easy.
That was a boring fight.
Now it's 10, 11 months later, and I'll tell you another thing. I give Spence credit for taking this fight because a lot of people like you and a lot of people will consider Danny dangerous.
Yes.
And Spence could have came back and fought like an Ivan Redkach. Just get his feet wet again. Let me see what I am after the accident, blah, blah, blah. If they took this fight, then they have every confidence that Spence is what he was before.
Right.
And that Danny isn't what he was before either.
Well, whatever the case is. But I don't think they're looking, over there and saying, well, we can beat this guy, because I think they think that it's them. It's we're worried. We'll take care of us and we'll let the rest play out in the ring. I think that's the way they're looking about it.
Let me go ahead and say this. As far as Errol's choice of opponent, it being Danny Garcia, for all the things that people have to say about Danny Garcia, the pound for pound number one, Terrence Crawford, has been active and hasn't even fought a Danny Garcia at 147. That is all I have to say. Errol is fighting this dude who I still consider elite after a year and a half and after a car crash. And this boy, Terrence Crawford, fought. The
only reason he didn't fight, he hasn't fought a Danny Garcia, is because Danny Garcia won't take the money to go fight him.
Put the cash up. Put it.
They
up.
have.
But
No,
but up there though.
Bob was throwing $5 million at Danny in 2016
you know what?
to fight Pacquiao. $5 million. Where's Danny making $5 million?
Look at me.
Nowhere.
Look at me.
Nowhere.
Look at me. Look at me. Up there. Put the cash up. And there you go. Up.
What? Up what?
Up there.
What did Thurman make to fight Pacquiao? No, because after a while,
I think he made 10. I think he made 10, right? 8 to 10. His pay-per-view upside, that did 550 million. That did 550,000, right?
Yeah.
Pay-per-view buys.
Yeah.
I think he got what? That's what the reports were. 8 to 10, right?
His purse was $2 million plus whatever his cut was.
Put it up. Put it up.
Thurman was
put the cash up.
Thurman was 2.5 million.
All I have to say,
dude,
and see, this is the thing.
It's finally they get the golden goose. They got the golden egg, and all of a sudden they don't make all the money that they say they make, because when they get a Pacquiao fight, it's like, no, this is real money. Guess what? The real money is $2.5 million, because you weren't getting that before. All that talk about under the table, under the back, dirty
backhand cash, it exists.
There's no such thing at it. Now, really? You can't prove it. You can't prove it.
Exists, and you can't disprove it.
They don't even have a gate anymore to get back end money from.
You know what? They got a gate for this fight. They got a gate for this fight.
Cash App. Are they going to go on Cash App me?
Hey man, and I got my money ready to send on Cash App. That's it. But you know what? Let me say this, and that's really what it is. You're talking about the only reason why it's
$2.5 million.
Look,
$2.5 million. I'm looking at it.
The fact of the matter
CBS Sports. CBS is Showtime, right?
yeah. CBS is Showtime.
$2.5 million.
For who?
Pacquiao got guaranteed of $10 million.
Mm-hmm.
Keith Thurman got $2.5 million.
2.5. Cool. You know what? And that's fine. So you're over here talking about, okay, $5 million flat fee, blah, blah, blah. See, the thing is that these guys maybe got you. These guys maybe are refusing fights because they're already touching that money, man. I don't care what y'all are saying. They're touching it already. Put the money. What is it, Joey? Look at me.
How much is Danny worth to fight Bud Crawford? If Bud Crawford just got $4 million to fight Brooke.
Yeah. Well, oh wait, Bud has a belt. Sorry.
Wait, so when Thurman wanted to fight Bud, right?
You know what I'm looking at? I'm looking at the bullshit. Stuck in the ceiling.
The money.
Guess what? When they talked about Thurman fighting Bud, you know what Thurman said?
10 million.
I want 10 million. He got 2.5 to fight Pacquiao.
He didn't get 2.5 to fight Pacquiao.
But his purse was 2.5 million. If
Reported.
They only sold 550,000.
You don't know what these dudes are touching, man. These dudes are touching cash. These dudes are touching. I know they are.
So his purse was 3 times or 4 times less than what he got on the back end. No fucking way. These dudes are touching. They touching. He didn't make 5 million, and he wanted 10 to fight Crawford. And you know what that is? That's a duck. That's a duck.
I agree because it's Keith Thurman, and I don't like Keith Thurman.
No, that's
you know what? Yep.
All of them have gotten accustomed to fighting the lesser fights for whatever money they get, and they can continue getting these fights. So they just sit back and get paid and have the easy fights and have the easy camps and go out drinking and partying and crashing and all the shit that they're doing. Meanwhile, the best fighter in the world, the number 1 pound for pound fighter in the world, can't get anybody to fight him. How is that? How is that? Come on.
Yes, he can. But he can though. You know what he has to do, and hopefully he does it. Hopefully.
Let's wrap this up. Let's get a prediction. Let's go.
I'm with Joey. I see a unanimous, boring decision from state decision from Errol Spence. There's gonna be maybe a few touch-ups and whatever, and they're gonna go at it maybe a few times. But in general, it's just gonna be a a don't hit me fight, a stay away, chessy type. It's not even going to be chess. It's going to be checkers, and it's going to be the tic tac toe. You know who's going to win. You know where the X's are going to fall and where the O's are going to be. And it is what it's going to be.
Man.
You're going to end the fight, and you're going to be like, "Damn, I paid how much for this?"
Hey, man.
0.
Go ahead, Joey.
I really tried to look for a way to see, what Danny can do to win this fight. And the only thing I could think of, and it's unlike him, because you said he's so measured and he's just got his way about him. I really think you have to test Spence right out the gate. You have to attack him because he hasn't been in there. And you know what?
That's not Danny.
Exactly. But I think that's the only way he could really, if he just came out full court press and was able to hurt Spence within the first 2 minutes of the fight, and have Spence change his game plan. Like, okay, Danny's doing something different. I don't think Danny's going to do that.
And Porter did that. And Porter really, tested Spence. And Spence, I'm telling you, from my point of view at that fight, he was probably had a few drinks during training camp and wasn't at his peak best. And he had to labor in there in that fight. But in this fight, I don't think that's going to be the case. But I see Spence playing it safe too, because Danny can punch, and I think it's going to be a largely boring fight. So,
I'm gonna go 8-4. I'm gonna go with Spence. I don't think there's any knockdowns. I think that might be the boring part because neither one of them really go for it, because Danny never really does unless he's fighting a bum. And
it's going to be low output.
Spence will he'll be smart. He'll box. He won't be stupid in there. He won't take chances, and he'll do enough to win. And it might even be convincing, but the stupid PBC will probably have it a split decision, majority, whatever. What do they always do? Whatever. Don't be surprised if it's a draw or something stupid. But I'm taking Spence 8-4.
8-4 Spence.
I'm gonna have to go ahead and of course disagree with both of y'all. We're looking at the best welterweight, the best welterweight in the world. We are looking at the best welterweight in the world.
Is he getting a KO?
From the Lone Star State of Texas. No KO, because I respect Danny and I respect his skills. This is what it's going to be. You're looking at like 9-3, 10-2. All right. I happen to think, and I've been saying this the whole time, that Errol he's the same. I think he's going to bounce back. He's going to bounce back just fine.
But he's going to take out Garcia. He's going to break him down and take him out like the best fighter in the world does.
But you know what? Hold on. See, and this is the thing.
I think he'll do enough to discourage him. I think he'll break him down to a degree
for everyone
saying that back to that.
For everyone saying that Errol is going to sit here and play it safe and please don't hit me and all this, it's not going to be low output. Errol throws way too many jabs. He's never been low output. He has stamina to burn, stamina for days. Look.
But what happens when the denture gets hit? That's the question.
When the denture gets hit, right, left, good night. We going home, baby. Going home early. And I said right, left because the southpaw is going to hit this dude straight up, man. Look, I'm just telling you, that's it.
I'm going to say this
9-3, 10-2
to end.
He's going to be in control of the fight. It's not going to be boring for me because I'll feel good. And I'm going out after.
You're going to the fight and you're going to be drinking. Of course, it's not going to be boring.
Dallas, here we come.
The best.
Let me tell you something. You can go to a blowout and it's fun as long as your guy's winning. And
you can't be the best welterweight in the world when the number one pound for pound fighter is in the same division. You just can't be the best welter. You can be the second best welter, but if Terrence Crawford was a junior middleweight, or if Terrence Crawford was a junior welterweight, okay, then maybe Spence would be the best welterweight in the world. But you cannot be the best welterweight in the world when you have the best pound for pound fighter in the same division. Period. You just can't.
I'm pretty sure. And see, this is when we'll have to really go back, and we can go ahead and close it up. But I'm pretty sure that at the time that Duran and Hearns fought, Duran was probably higher on the pound for pound list than Hearns.
So anyway, we got to close it out.
Hearns knocked him out. Look, yeah.
Thanks everybody.
Exactly.
It's been great. Spartan
Texas
Boxing.
Third.
We'll see you
Later, y'all.
after the fights.